Hi everyone, my name is Saleha Singh and welcome to Gupshup with Saleha. Today we are chatting about social media and let me share some interesting facts about social media researched and shared by my friend Josna Sharma. Thanks, Joe. There are 3.5 billion active social media users, which means 45% of the world's population. Facebook is the market leader with more than 2.32 billion monthly active users. And 49% of the people will believe an influencer when they endorse a product. And in January 2019, Instagram stories increased to 500 million stories globally. I love social media. And if you're listening to this program live or watching it later, I'm sure you like it too. My favorite is obviously Facebook. I've been able to connect with my family and friends who live in different parts of the world. And most importantly, I've been able to connect to you. Thanks to Facebook, I've also been able to showcase my writing skills and have written for magazines like Reader's Digest. Imagine my excitement when the editor of Reader's Digest called me up after reading one of my stories on another Facebook group and asked me to write. And from May to July this year, I wrote every week with one of my stories going viral because someone decided to send it as a WhatsApp forward. And you know the power of WhatsApp. I also like YouTube. I get to listen to old Bengali songs, watch old Bengali movies, and most importantly, I learned to cook thanks to YouTube. Ranbir Brar made cooking so easy, and being an eye candy helped too. Instagram, well, all I do is share Lizzie stories. Lizzie is my King Charles Cavalier. Twitter, I have all of 19 followers, and I'm so scared to put up anything on Twitter because of the vitriol and the venom that is there. You know, everybody has an opinion. And then there is a social media reaction. If we write something that another person does not like, we sit behind our keyboards and just trash that person. We are mean, rude, call them names, and God knows what else. My mother always taught me to be nice to people. She always said that if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So, people, be kind, be polite, because tomorrow you may be on the receiving end. And talking about social media, meet my guest tonight, Sangamitra Kumar, actress and producer, Virat Nehru, poet, writer, and a marketing whiz kid, Zoran Sahir, actor, model, Insta influencer, and a motivational speaker. Welcome to the show, guys. Okay,
Thank
You.
before we start the program, may I ask you to say something about yourself? Tell my audience about yourselves. Sangamitra, we'll start with you. Thank you.
Um, hey everyone, my name is Sandra Kumar. I am an actor, as Saleha said. Although I do feel that Virat has been acting far better than me right now, like ever since the start of the program. But his expressions were just on point. But I've been working.
Straight to the point.
I've been working as a child actor since the age of 7 from the National School of Drama. I moved to Sydney and then moved back to Bombay. So I was working in the big bad industry of Bollywood, and I was also working in production side. So now that I'm back in Sydney, I've just started my own production house called Manadi Media Works, and we are launching our very first web series. I'm so proud of it because it's been written by the drama queen just sitting there, Virat Nehru, and it is called New India. Yes, you. And it's a series of episodes, satirical episodes about I think Virat should be actually telling you more about it, but we're very excited. Zoran is co-producing this with me, and we will be talking more about that when we would be talking about social media, because this is where we're going to be telecasting it. So yeah, over to you, Virat.
Thank you, Sangmita. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I do feel though I was not acting more than I was overacting, so thank you. That's why you, the actor, because there was so much subtlety in your performance. Whereas me, I was just going overboard, which is I was acting for the galleries. I was hamming it up, as they say. So, which is not necessary. I think the wonderful expressions that you're bringing to the show is what people really need. That's why you're the actor and I'm not. But talking about the show, I'm really excited. So I've been a poet all my life, but so nobody likes to hear poetry anymore because as soon as I say shairi, people just
No,
walk
no, we
away.
like it. We
This is
like it.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean that's
We
fine.
go
It's
crazy
the
in
only
Gaga.
That's not true.
I kind of feel like whenever I say poet, I feel like when I was a kid, parents used to say कि चलो बेटा आओ dance सिखाओ तो चलो बेटा आओ poem सुनाओ type वो वाला feel आने लगता है मुझे. So I kind of feel like अच्छा today my poem is about X Y Z. So that's how I feel sometimes about poetry, but it's nice. So I'm glad to have transitioned into screenwriting and to be able to write about New India. It's an exciting series. It's been with me for about a year actually. So it's actually surreal that it's actually now on the ground and we can take it forward and show it to the world very soon. So I never believed it because I've been living with it for such a long time that now that it's going to be out in the world very soon, I'm excited. It's short sketches. It's not trying to capture the absurdity of everything. I think where we are basically, and it's funny, it's fun. 5-10 minutes of basically everything, the chaos that is the 21st century, basically. So, बहुत मजा आने वाला है, and I can't wait to be working with such wonderful people, Zaran and Sangmitra, and it's can't have expected a better team of people. They've been cheering me up because living with something for a year can really take its toll. You can really be down on yourself after a while. But thankfully, they've stuck with me. So, and I'm such a drama queen, as you've already realized. So I've had my own tantrums. So it's glad to be that there are people who can, live, you know, basically not be sick of me, which is a good
We
thing.
need a separate episode for that to discuss this.
हाँ
See,
उसमें
More
फिर
than that.
yeah
Yes.
actually yeah, we'll go very off track if we talk about my tantrums.
Thanks, Virat.
well,
Zaran.
hey Saleha and hey everyone. Hi guys. Firstly, thanks a lot for having me on the show and all of us. It's an absolute pleasure. And like you kind of said a few minutes back, try and be nice every day because tomorrow you might be on the receiving end. So I think I live life by that philosophy. I try and not be on the receiving end because I'm constantly aware of that. And to put things into context, I mean, yeah, essentially, I have been into the sort of the fine arts of things, the performing arts, being an actor myself and an influencer. Started off in Oman for 20 years of my life, having been born in India, Mumbai. Then went to New York, where my first film was sort of produced, and I featured in it as my debut short film and screened at the New York Film Festival. After which, I went back to Mumbai to possibly pursue a dream in the Indian film industry, which people favorably call Bollywood. And came to Sydney last year. I just finished my master's in journalism, but I think the dream and the aspiration was always to be on television, on screen, to do as much of work in films or even otherwise, and of course, being a motivational speaker where you can make a difference in the lives of people, especially at a time during now the pandemic, last 4 or 5 years. A lot of people have been struggling with their own mental state, with a lot of questions in their minds. Why am I doing the what of it and how and when and so try and put those things into perspective and context. But I think on a more serious note, we are on board with this thing called New India, and if I can just reveal that we just gave our first shot about a couple of hours ago, and
Oh,
and and,
wow.
and we wrapped up because we had to be on Saleha Singh's show.
Ah, thank you, Zaran. Thank
No, but no, it's wonderful to be over here so we could talk more about it and sort of rejoice the fact that the film, I mean, the series is a green lit, and we're on the way to doing it. And I think I'm really proud and happy to work with these two fantastic individuals sitting with me here, Sangmitra and Virat. And I don't say it in any which way, but I know for a fact because I've worked with the two of them for quite some time now. We're having conversations, and like I've said this many a times, and I will say it one more time again. When you are doing something which is of collaborative, especially in the arts and film industry, thriving on good vibes is extremely important. It's essential. It is the need of the hour, especially at a time when people are on different pages. And I found that click instantly with them in the first conversation, in the first 10 seconds. And I think here we are, making something hopefully path breaking, hopefully that can go places. And
Virat, this is yours and mine moment.
तो मैंने इतना अच्छा बोल दिया, प्लीज यदि ताली तो बजा दो.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'll
No,
start
no,
with the questions. So,
please.
what did social media actually mean to you, and what has it become now? Who wants to go first? Virat?
Oh God, everyone's looking at me.
So much to say
and,
every
and,
time.
and yeah. I mean, initially, I remember because I remember those MSN Messenger kind of chat room days. Because I remember I didn't have a computer, a desktop computer for the longest time, so I had to go to an internet cafe, and we used to, उसमें आधे घंटे एक घंटे के लिए you had to pay to basically, and that was your internet time. So that was also, you didn't have this what you have today. Basically, check social media on your phone and everything. So even to be accessing any kind of social media, whether it was MSN Messenger or Orkut back in the day, if you remember, you still had only that half an hour or 45 minutes. And I remember we used to coordinate. अच्छा मैं इस टाइम पे chat room में जाऊंगा तो you better be online. If you missed that window, then it was like the world had come to an end. And I remember because then I moved to Australia and to keep up friendships back in India, it was very difficult. So we used to calculate the time
Thank you.
differences and be like, acha, tu ab online hoga, to whatever. And it was such a blissful time because it took effort, you know. It meant that two people had to really put in effort to continue a genuine relationship and a genuine friendship. And that's what I miss. Because now the availability of social media is so rampant. Like I can be basically the internet is there, 4G is there, 5G is now here as well. Basically, I can just check on my phone, and I'm not that concerned because it's 24/7, which means my investment in my friendships is lesser actually. Because I can just see a comment and be like, "Arey, abhi nahi reply karna na, baad mein kar sakte hain." And then when the baad mein never comes, because suddenly you realize something else important comes up. So actually, I feel it's become harder to really keep up friendships, even though we are more connected. We're somehow less invested in our friendships. That's what I feel.
I think
Okay.
less invested in all our relationships. I mean, I've got my entire family on Facebook, and sometimes I'm just like, I'm so happy that I'm able to connect with all my cousins and the distant relatives and everybody. But there are times when they add you to WhatsApp groups, and you're like, I don't want to receive 150 messages in the
Yes.
morning. No, like I love you guys and everything, but no. But yeah, for me, I think initially. So I'll go further back from Orkut and High Five era. I actually remember having like computers. I used to go to a school in Delhi, in one of the bigger schools. I don't want to brag about it, but I still remember entering that computer lab with your shoes. You had to leave your shoes out the door,
Yes.
which is a mystery nobody has ever been able to solve. Like, why? Why? Which virus is this computer going to catch? And hopefully it's not COVID, but it was so
No, no, I
annoying.
remember.
And
I
we used to
remember. We had to do that as well. Me too. And I now remember because we were told a specific reason because the computer was meant to represent knowledge, right? So, agar it is basically an incarnation of knowledge. So, if you're basically entering in a board of knowledge, you're basically leaving your shoes outside. And
Okay.
and now I think computers are
the
anything
only
but a source
knowledge
of
they gave us
knowledge.
was C++, and I still don't know why we learned that.
I
So
would say obscenity is definitely high on the list, but C++ is a very nice way to put it. I wish I learned C++ from computers, but I didn't. I learned everything else apart
Yeah,
from
but
C++.
Java
with
is
my
so complicated. I still don't know that kind of stuff. It's
with my
crazy.
struggles with technology, I mean, as Saraya has already seen, me logging into this thing was such a struggle every single time. So I still don't know why we did C++. All I remember is just leaving my shoes outside, and that was a pain in the butt, to be very honest. But I'm just amazed at how beautifully social media has actually come up. And I know, yes, there are negatives to it. There's that propaganda side to it. And I'm not on Twitter because I know that's a battlefield. It's a
Oh,
political battlefield, and
yep.
I don't want to be there.
No, Twitter is so
Um,
much fun, guys. Come on.
no, please.
Oh, I like
I mean, I
Twitter.
like
Yeah,
Facebook.
you can,
Facebook
yeah,
used
yeah.
to be my favorite thing, and then but I like Instagram the best. It's like the safest place. I only add people that I want to, and that includes a lot of my family members and stuff, distant relatives that I don't want to add. I'm sorry if you're listening to this. You have not been accepted to follow
What a
my
disclaimer.
Instagram page. But the kind of content that has come up on Facebook, like filter copy and TVF and all these things that have come up with social media, so much has evolved in the last decade. It's amazing. And we have a Rishikesh Shah who says,
Yes.
please get those
Yes.
testimonials.
Thank you for this.
Yes.
Thank you for the
Yes.
Yes.
OG or Orkut testimonials. This is a great
Uh,
thing. I
Orkut
remember
is hi-fi,
somebody.
guys. Hi-fi as well.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
And I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
even going.
Orkut was that original Indian community connect.
True.
It was the true tragics remember Orkut. The demise of Orkut took
Yeah.
away a piece of my heart, and I feel
Yeah.
it's not been replaced. So uh,
But
The
I just
heart was
remember
cut
like
and put.
begging people to sign your slam book to begging people to write those testimonials on your Orkut as well.
nahi, like
How
literally, my
times change.
childhood best friend actually filled out the slam book quite. She took a week, and
She
she was
took a
just
week
like to fill out the slam
Wow.
book like pura, A to Z. And then
Yeah.
she brought it. So she recently got married earlier this year, which I went to Lucknow in Feb just before the pandemic. So I'm really lucky that I could. And she reminded me कि देख मैंने slam book भरी थी पता है तेरे को कितने साल पहले Orkut पे. And she brought it back. She
Actually, वो बहुत
brought
मेहनत
back
का
the
काम है.
chats.
But it's so
Huh.
nostalgic to have those kinds of things nowadays, because it took effort. And
Yes.
and I think what Neetu also said, in a certain sense, I feel, Saleha, that I think over the years, social media has, evolutionized in a certain manner. Like I began with Facebook, obviously, with everybody else, but of course I was on Orkut and of course Hi-Fi and so on and so forth, and MSN Messenger. But I have to say also, I think what one thing social media has done is changed. It's been a bit of a curse and a cure. So
Okay.
so while you're kind of, I mean, like a lot of hard hearts are broken. Twitter is the place to keep ranting about things. Twitter is the place to keep commentary going on the political satires of things, on your own life, your parents, whatever it is. And at the same time, you have Instagram to kind of showcase an image of what you're feeling. You have Facebook to write a paragraph of what you're feeling. And I think being an influencer on Instagram, on Facebook, I've felt over the years, without not just having an audience growing, but if you are in any which way able to make a difference in the lives that matter, like I always say, right? I mean, a simple line can make someone's day. So then why not? It's free of cost. It's easy. And matlab, if Neetu is doing her little Jai Bachchan thali aarti with
You're putting it so beautifully, and you've said something so wonderful. So I'm just like,
but,
Alhamdulillah, man.
I just a couple of days back, I mean, I wrote something which kind of resonated with people. I can write my own quotes and stuff as well, and so I put something. And sometimes, I say this so often, that what is cool to me, what is amazing to me, what I consider to me my proudest work, is not what other people feel. So when I would expect, say, 100 likes on something, I'll get 10 or 15, and then stuff which I'm like, eh, bakwas hai. And so I have this guilty pleasure in my life. I have now decided once a month I'll purposely put the worst thing I have ever done, ever.
And you get how many likes for that?
And then I'm heartbroken, but actually in my heart I'm happy because kuch to likes mil rahe. So in my heart I'm like, but if you like this, then go back like that as well. You love that. If this is like, then that is love. But watch that and appreciate that, because that was my moment. This is your moment. But yeah, but I guess that's a love and hate relationship you keep playing with social media platforms. But I think I also feel that people have begun to realize, and perhaps even more so after a pandemic like this, because they've themselves seen the negatives of it. They've themselves seen that negativity just keeps filtering. It won't make a
Yes.
difference in your life because people are listening. They're not acting upon it, right? You can't step out of your house. How's someone going to make your life feel better? So I think as much as possible, try and put out content. As much as possible, try and sort of post things which, in some way or the other, is just making someone's day. And again, it's free, of course. Do it. And like you said, right, you don't want to be at the receiving end tomorrow. You
Yes,
may never know.
absolutely. Yes.
So
And
wow.
when he
but
says
but Zara,
that make
and
somebody's
yeah,
day, I would say please don't put photos of your
No, no,
family vacations and
no,
stuff. It
no,
doesn't
no.
make anybody's day, but only yours.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, put relatable content, relatable yet. No, I mean, what someone would consider to be right and honest and appropriate for social media viewing, and is it okay to have, like, like your wedding pictures up there and your first anniversary pictures, or do you want to put a motivational quote? Is entirely up to you. But now again, audiences can differ.
no, it's not. Though there are some things which should be private, and
True.
God forbid, I kind of feel like my eyes,
Yeah.
I just want to really, post some asset because I'm like, मैंने क्यों देख लिया ये?
But
मेरे
Virat,
लिए, like, why should this is not for me? Why
correct.
am I being tagged in this?
No, I
I don't
agree. But
want to be like in a Suhagrat photo of yours. I don't want to see this. Nobody. Like, why? Why
I
am I
agree.
with
that,
I
99
that
don't,
of
I
reminds
don't
people
want to
me,
be one of
seeing
my
someone's
Sally,
Suhagrat?
your Dulhan's your Dulhan, not mine. It's up to you.
You
But
know,
I'm just
no,
not
saying.
with this
it's
yours
true.
because
Sal, remember I was telling you
literally.
about this.
But what's the limit to it, right? What is the limit
I
to
was
it? So how
telling you
much
about this
what is
that somebody
accepted?
had actually written, I'm celebrating my first night. This lady had written, I'm celebrating my first night with 99 others. So,
That's like,
I mean, if we get to that point where we are actually that progressive, good on her.
yeah.
I have no complaints. But no, literally, why not? It's all a show at the end.
No, no,
Uh,
no.
I mean,
What I meant to
वैसे
say,
भी in India, people get married for other people, not for themselves.
Yes.
yeah,
So in a way, it makes sense.
so
yeah,
I'm going to
Suhagra
show
Pradesh
some
and
comments
Dunya,
now.
I mean,
sure.
Okay, Shreya says, great show as always. Thank
We
you, Shreya.
agree.
thank you, Shreya. But Zoe,
Thanks, Shreya.
actually, what I was thinking about
What about
that.
people who post what they have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on social media? Ashish, you have to
Wait,
like this guy.
yeah, Ashish,
Okay.
will get to that. But Zoe, I want to respond to you actually because you suddenly brought this into a very nice kind of happy-go-lucky, like, very I'm gonna hug you and be like everything's gonna be okay kind of
That was
space.
intentional. That
But
was intentional,
and
Virat.
but like I don't believe it because the problem is
Yeah.
you don't have to be you can be doing all the right things but still be target of trolls.
No, no, hang
And
on a minute.
I'll give you my example, for example.
Yeah.
So my surname is Nehru. I don't have to do anything or say anything to be targeted. You know, just the fact that
By,
I exist is a problem for other people.
by all
अब
means,
उसके बारे में मैं कुछ कर नहीं सकता हूँ. अब
Virat, you'd be surprised to hear
Nehru,
I am in the middle of trolls all the time. But I always say trolling is not a bad thing. Trolling for what you're saying is important, right? I mean, troll the right reasons. Don't troll for the sake of trolling, right? Like,
नहीं,
but
but that's the thing. I think
I
trolling
do
is for
think,
the sake of trolling. That is trolling. If we do
yeah,
it for the right reasons, it's criticism. It's
no,
constructive
but I
criticism.
feel
yeah,
that
Trolling is
the
for the
most
sake of trolling.
misunderstood word
but
today on social media has to be opinion. Like
yeah, yeah.
everybody has an opinion, and that's great, because
Yeah.
there's a time when
What's that quote? Opinions
everyone
are like
genuinely
aspirins.
has an
Everyone's
opinion.
got one.
Say it
You
again.
know?
But the thing is
What's
that
that?
if you look at the
Yeah.
dictionary meaning of opinion, and I always like to say this and point this out on social media, if you look at the dictionary meaning of opinion, it's literally jumping to a conclusion without doing any form of research. So it's just
Yeah.
something that मुझे ऐसा लगता है, okay?
हाँ.
And this
तो
is
मैं
the
क्या करूँ
worst
भाई?
thing
तो
that
करना
social
फिर.
media has
Yeah,
brought out. So I
exactly.
think we should. We have Sarmita Gupta who's asking, what about challenges on Facebook? What do you think of them?
Stop
Oh.
tagging 100 people, Amita.
Yeah. But actually,
That is
let's
all
get back
the
to that. I mean,
challenges, Amita. I promise you.
लोग कोरोना से मर रहे हैं and Indian ladies were like just Chopra's heroines in sari challenges and
Yeah.
everything, and I was like,
go
Also-
Corona, go
Yeah.
Corona, go Corona, go.
Thank you, Sharmita. Always very kind.
But no, let's
Sharmita
get back to. There was a question. I think Ashish asked that. What about
Why
the people
can't
who
I share
post?
vacation pictures,
Photos?
Sarmita?
अरे तो आपका वेकेशन है ना, हम तो नहीं गए आपके साथ. अगर
No,
आप
no.
हमारे से हम रहते तो
तुमको जाना भी नहीं है, आप जाओ
No,
enjoy
no.
करो.
So, Virat, this is where I'll say
Go,
one thing. But this is where I'll say one thing. While it's absolutely your thing, you mind your business. Don't let the world got that. But question is to what level is acceptable to put, and what don't people want to see? Because there are a lot of people who say put pictures. Now I want to see where you went. So then what do I say?
नहीं, they
I
don't. But
put
the
pictures
thing
all
is,
the time of my
Yeah,
holidays.
I'm also guilty for that then.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
much-
absolutely.
हाँ,
I think
we are
one
all
of the
guilty.
other
I'm
reasons
not
why
saying कि हम
people
बहुत
do
दूध
it.
के धुले हैं. नहीं,
हाँ.
yeah, I feel we're
No,
all
no,
guilty
also one of
somewhat.
the reasons why people do it, and especially like mummy generation, they do it because they think it's a good
Thanks,
photo
Neetu.
album.
Thank you. Thank
This
you.
is where you
Yeah.
preserve all the photographs.
A
digitally.
generational gap thing now.
Sorry, mummies, but it
Okay.
is true. This is hashtag Indian mummy logic. That this is what they do. It's like this is my my album box on
Yeah.
Instagram, on Facebook. कि मेरी सारी photos यहाँ पे preserved रहेंगी. And my mom's favorite dialogue is that one day you will look at these pictures and you will cry. And I'm like, okay, now this is like very sad. I don't know what to say to that. So I mean, yeah, I mean, by all means, do that
nahi,
if that's the reason.
I want to go back to that food wala, like breakfast, dinner wala photos and everything else. I have a weird logic around it. I feel because our generation specifically, we're not big into having kids. We're not big
Yeah.
into like that. I at least definitely I don't feel like I'm fit to be a father. I don't feel like parenthood is something that people should aspire to. That's a different debate
No,
altogether.
no, you
I,
need
nahi, nahi,
parenting
nahi.
yourself at this point.
Yeah.
हाँ नहीं 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 not just generally I feel like क्या
Way
है
off
like
you, way off
it's
you,
not
yeah.
something which is aspirational. I feel like 90% of people shouldn't be parents to begin with. That's a different debate altogether. But
True.
like so because of that, because we don't have kids, we either replace them with pets or we replace that with food because we need something as which we love. And I feel food is become that,
Distraction.
at
It's
least
a
for me,
distraction.
You
definitely.
should
I
watch
connect much
Ranveer
better with
Brar.
food.
You
No,
should
I
watch
don't,
Ranveer
no, but
Brar.
I
I
would definitely.
actually know Ranveer Bra because I'm a food blog. I was a food blogger in Mumbai, and I hosted the show which he was a
I
part
was
of.
waiting for your
Oh
first
God.
name drop.
You're
Name
my
But
drop.
best friend, Zoran.
we will talk about that once the show is over. The what's
Okay.
and the whys of it. What I want to say is this is where the work part and professional part comes into play. And while I agree with Virat Singh, I mean it's a distraction of some sort. People are food bloggers as a career and profession, and sometimes brands require you to kind of put up stuff.
Yeah.
Brands require you to kind of put things which are delicious and yummy and like make people hate you even more. So be it. Hate me more. But that brings in the business. That brings in the kind of eyeballs popping in. That brings in your audience is growing because of just by virtue of what you do. And I think it's also about. I think at the end of the day, Instagram is a beautiful photo album of whose photo album looks prettier than anybody else's. So yes, I think and people like Ranveer Brar, people like Sanjeev Kapoor, people like Vikas Khanna, who's my personal favorite, especially and one of my good friends. I look up to him because he's used food. He's used food to positive again, right? Like how he's changed people's thinking in a certain sense. Like right now during the pandemic, he I think pledged to feed a few thousand people in the villages of India. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
really
yeah,
good. Yes.
and he was kind of covered on BBC and stuff, and obviously, and apart from that, also I think it's also once you do kind of make it in your professional work, how are you using social media positively to kind of do things in a certain sense. So it's also about that management of what post goes up and what doesn't go up and
I,
stuff like
I mean, there's two
Also,
kinds
to
of
add
response.
to that,
Yeah, sorry, me too.
that.
so just to add to that, like how I think it was Shweta who asked, why can't you put up your pictures, your
Sharmita.
vacation
Yep.
pictures?
Yes.
I think Zoran always says this, and he puts it very beautifully. It's real versus real. Where you
Yeah,
need to know what you're putting on, the intention
yeah,
of it. Are you seeking attention? Are you putting out your insecurities out there, or is it just simply that I want to share the fun with everybody else?
yeah,
So it's not the action. Also, it's always the intention behind what you're
Yes.
putting. So
yeah,
by all
yeah.
means, as a layman, as a just a general public, you want to put out your photos out there, go for it. But be sure of what your intention is, because that will determine what kind of photos you're going to eventually
Yeah.
end up posting as well.
I have
That's a fair
another
point.
I have
That's
another
exactly.
question which I
Wow.
will show. Can you
Is in
read
the
it or
house.
shall I read it?
Deepak is in the house, and I'm going to read the idea of mainstream
People
as
is doing an essay. I don't think I
now.
can like wow. Wow. Okay.
Am I reading
Uh-huh.
it loud or are we all reading it by ourselves?
I guess there's too much to read, so we'll read. I'm trying to read it and imbibe. Uh, yes.
These
It's
are just friends
Deepak will
list.
talk
More and
about
more
this on our
people are
WhatsApp group.
finding expression on the platform that has replaced the old brick and mortar fuddy-duddies. It is very sad that Facebook is in the news for entirely the wrong reasons.
I
And
agree, and I think part of that is the
Deepak,
discussion we
don't
were
be a party
recently
pooper.
just having Me
We're
Too.
We're talking
just
about
about to
fun
have a
stuff.
discussion about and what's it
Yeah,
right
because
for.
Me Too, you mentioned that Me Too that there is a responsibility of what people post. I think
yes,
we should look at the other side of the coin as well about the responsibility of social media platforms and in how to actually legitimize what's there in the public forum, right? Because clearly, as we mentioned, there are trolls, there are people who are out there to basically, target you. And I guess even if it's your responsibility as a person, as a public figure, to be mindful of what you put up, equally it is a social media platform's responsibility to ensure that it's a safe space for everyone.
I
So I
agree.
think
But I
that
think
needs to
if
be
you
a
if you
balance
think
that
about
needs
it,
to be
it
struck.
can't.
I think Virat, you
It's
brought up a
like
very
saying,
important point
Virat,
about
though, that
safety.
walking.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just saying that it's like walking out of your home and saying, let's ensure everything is safe. And even though, yes, there are rules and there are regulations and stuff to ensure that you are safe outside of your home, but the truth is that somewhere the danger will always be lurking. So
Sure.
nothing can be
Ha ha.
perfect
Like,
at all times, and that's
but
one
that's
thing
the
that you
but
have
but
to
that's the same.
understand.
See,
But
I
it's
mentioned
it's kind of that logic, कि criminal तो आके गला काटेगा ही, आप अपना गला बचाओ ना. But like,
yeah, yeah.
no, I guess there should be law
But
in order to kind of prevent the criminals from doing that as well. I know there's some people who will still get, past those filters because there's no way to eliminate trolls completely, but there should be some restrictions or some kind of safeguard to make
yeah,
sure that it is a safer place, not the safest,
but
because
see,
we can't
Virat,
ensure 100%. Sorry, yeah,
this is where my point of being a cure and a curse came into place because at a certain sense, Facebook does allow you to disable locations. Facebook also
Yes.
allows you to enable locations. So in a sense, you have the choice, right? So you have the choice not to even have an account on Facebook for that matter.
Yes.
Like I say, it bothers you, don't be on it. But it's like don't tell someone else to live their life on your terms because at the end of the day, you do your thing, they do their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Naini,
like
but this is the world we
you
live
said,
in.
I'm not going to allow you to follow my page on Instagram.
Yeah,
नहीं
yeah.
नहीं
But I
नहीं
don't want
but
you
this is
to.
the world we live in. अगर मुझे ये नहीं पसंद है तो I tell everyone to live by my rules. कि
Yeah.
how
Exactly.
can he go do this? मुझे नहीं पसंद है तो तुम्हें कैसे पसंद हो सकता है?
How can you
How
slap?
can she do this? How
How can
can she smoke? How can she drink? I don't like drinking. How can she do it
and
in
and
Yep.
public?
and Virat, this is
limit the
Yes.
exactly this is exactly where I would like to plug in New India. That this is exactly these are the sort of dark satirical sketches that we're writing. That is kind of like a reflection upon the sort of things that we do, entering into this this mythical land of New India, which
नया
hopefully
भारत, which is
Naya
kind of
Naya
like I
Bharat.
was
Bharat,
just like
Naya
I was,
Bharat
I
की
was
नई
just like ये
पहचान.
पुराना वाला कौन सा था? चेंज कब हुआ? ये मुझे 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 किसी ने बताया नहीं.
Yeah, those have discourses, not discourses.
I'm going to
Yeah,
share a
This
lot
is
of good
exactly
stuff
what we
that
are
is
writing
coming
about. This is
through.
exactly the content that we are creating to kind of reflect on ourselves and laugh at ourselves,
Yeah.
basically
In a
to say
certain
that
sense,
yeah,
also
I mean,
society
no.
and how
but
hypocritical
that
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 is.
that is actually the thing. I feel social media has made us, all of us, way more sensitive than I'd like to be.
Oh, yes.
I'm someone who
Absolutely.
loves to
Yes.
laugh at myself, and I
Yeah,
feel like everyone is now getting offended on everyone else's behalf. I'm like,
yeah,
अगर मुझे कोई problem नहीं है तो तू मेरे behalf पे क्यों offend हो रहा है? Like तुझे क्या
yeah,
problem है? Like if I'm not getting offended, if somebody's made a joke about me and I'm comfortable with it, why are you getting offended on my behalf? But this is,
yeah.
taking offense is such political currency now. कि
But
hi, इसने ऐसा बोल दिया. I'm going to now write a comment in defense. I'm like, किसने बोला है मेरे behalf पे बोलने के लिए? मैं बोल सकता हूँ, मेरे मुंह में जबान है अभी. बोल के लब
also,
आजाद है तेरे, फैस में लिख दिया था, मुझे मालूम है, पोयम याद है मुझे. अभी
Okay.
लब मेरे आजाद है, and it's fine.
can
I
I just
just
say
want to
something?
acknowledge, sorry, Zoran, I just want to acknowledge few people who are saying very good things about you guys. Sadhna says, great show. So thank you.
Thank you.
Shivani,
Thank you.
Shivani says, great session, guys. Most of us definitely relate to this. I'm very active on social media. However, I limit my audience to certain posts.
Yeah.
Josna
That's a
says
selfish
Facebook.
thing to
Yep.
do.
Josna says Facebook is good for marketing. Deepak has another question, but we'll come back to that later.
Is that
Uh,
Jyotsna right now?
I love
but
how we are just ignoring Deepak.
no, we are not ignoring
Sorry,
Deepak.
Deepak,
It
we
is
love
said.
you.
No, but can I just say something, Saleha? At the
We
end of
just
the day,
addressed an essay by Deepak just now, so
yeah.
Okay,
Let's
here
see
you
how.
go.
Wow. Okay.
this is
So
another
Facebook
essay.
has, yes, they've connected people across the globe to become ideological allies, has offered a platform to reach a very wide, diverse audience, to artists, writers, frustrated losers, and also to hate mongers who choose what depends on their own individual tastes and temperaments. Yes, we all
Which I
agree
agree
that.
to, which I
Yeah.
agree to, yeah. But can I mean, just taking a lead from Virat's book, what he just said a couple of minutes back, that, at a certain sense, you also come on Facebook on a social platform with a baggage, right? Like you have a bit of a strange expectation of the person you're following. So if that expectation is not meeting the reality of what they're putting up as a content or the post, you in your head are constantly disappointed or
Yes,
or never impressed by what's going on,
Yeah.
really.
that's
And
right.
I think the problem
Yeah.
is the baggage. So I think either reduce that baggage and just come with a clean mind. And at the end of the day, you'll be happy. Or else you'll forever be in this zone of like, oh, you know what? He's not giving me what I want. He's not giving me the kind of content I want to see every single day. But he because that's not the headspace he's in. As similarly,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can we talk about social media etiquette, which is my
sure,
pet? My people are such keyboard warriors. They have to put another person down all the time.
yeah.
So, what do you think, Zoran? What
I
would you
think
say?
uh,
Other
I think everybody has a viewpoint and an opinion, and while it is difficult to be on the same page with everybody in the world, and that's fine. You learn from everyone, as silly and stupid it can sound sometimes, and most times. But I think if you're on a social platform and a public platform, if you're discussing etiquette, yes, it's important to be respectful, to have that sense of grace when you're speaking, even though you completely are on the left side or the right side of the spectrum, because that's how people are. And at some level, you're not going to meet eye to eye. That's all right. And I think it only comes with understanding what you believe in. I think the issue is insecurity. When someone is so majorly insecure with how they feel and think and want to do things, they start
yeah,
pounding on the and I guess those rules unknowingly even sort of warrant yourself on social media where you completely are not on the same page with somebody else. But that's all right. It doesn't mean that person's a bad day, a bad person, or
yeah.
neither does it mean it's a bad day. It's just a different way of looking at life, and that's what I constantly tend to feel whenever I'm engaging in a conversation with anybody or someone. It's always that sense of, okay, sounds good. Either it's my choice to completely ignore what they say, which I've figured out might be a bit more effective, because if I start talking, it may hurt their sentiments or the way they think. So try and sort of, I think a smiley always helps, because a smiley is super confusing if whether they think I'm happy or it's my way of shutting them down. Like if it makes you feel important, good for you, and that's where I ended. So yeah.
Who wants to answer this? Ashish's question. How should we
How
deal
should
I
we
with
deal with
trolls?
trolls?
okay. I think Virat has
Nay,
something
like
very interesting.
I love it. I love feeding the trolls. I know they keep saying don't feed the trolls, but
Yeah.
feed them. उनको लगता है कि they are looking for validation. Be like, अरे मुझे acknowledge कर दिया. Oh my God. I mean, like I feel like I made their day.
He's the dad
They feel like,
okay.
हाँ, मेरे को तो
Yeah.
डैश हो गया. Like, oh my God, नेहरू ने मुझे acknowledge कर लिया. अब तो मतलब अब तो, and then they start being super nice because they're like, oh my God, he responded. अब तो मुझे like बात करनी पड़ेगी. And I didn't think of anything beyond the gali that I had, and sometimes they put so much effort in the gali that they don't
Yeah.
expect a response which is like considerate and nice.
At least
And then you
spell it
respond
out.
nicely to them. They respond nicely to them. They're like shell shocked. You're like, अरे अब हम क्या करें?
Yeah.
Like अब तो इसके आगे तो मैंने प्लान नहीं किया था. I thought वो भी गाली लिखेगा फिर मैं भी गाली लिखूंगा फिर वो भी गाली लिखेगा फिर मैं भी गाली लिखूंगा. And I'm just like, अरे बट मैंने गाली दी नहीं. मैंने तो कन्वर्सेशन चेंज कर दिया. Sorry. Oh,
I love to
so
say.
I think there's to me like there's two things to this. To be honest, the first one is that I always say this, that there are 2 million colors in this world. You can't see everything in black and white. So you have to acknowledge the spectrum for what it is. Secondly, that brings us to the point that I had made earlier as well, that it is also the intention with which you're on social media. So if you're seeking some kind of an attention, and some troll is going to end up saying, whether you're an influencer, whether you are politically motivated, whichever way, if you are putting something out there to seek attention and somebody trolls you, you are definitely going to be feeling bad about it. You're definitely going to be offended by it. It's just psychology if you think about it. So I mean, it does come down to your intention as well. As far as the actual, like the political trolls, I believe that is what our guest was asking, our listener was asking about. I just feel that, yeah, again, it comes down to the intention. when I'm engaging with a troll, which I've reduced now for my peace of mind, it's it's simply that, no, it's peace of mind because it is sometimes talking to a brick wall, and you're just like, ye main kya kar rahi hu? So
Yeah.
you need to know where to stop, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, if my intention is to just pass on the knowledge and just keep that light, that candle burning, that there is a truth out there that people can seek if they want to, or they can listen to the troll if they want to, whichever way. I'm putting myself out there. I'm just giving my stats, my data, logical reasons, whatever, valid reasons, and that's it. And then I know where to stop, because when they drop their levels of stupidity, that's where thank you, Tata.
Which happens very
Jai
often,
Jai
right?
Maharashtra.
I think the most important thing is to have a strong support network,
Yeah.
that you know that there are people around you that you trust, and their opinion and their input actually matters, and there are people in the universe who just exist and their opinion is mm, almost as good as non-existent.
Like
So
like I was
It's almost as good as yours as well. See, everybody is going to think about, they have their
yeah,
own way of seeing the world. Like I said, there
yeah,
are 2 million colors in this world. You can't see
sure.
everything in black and white. So you have to
Like
acknowledge कि अच्छा ये हरा रंग है, ये काला रंग है, ये लाल रंग है, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, अभी क्या
हम
कर
पे
सकते
ये किसने हरा रंग डाला है?
but Neetu, I think
हैं?
a
ट्रोल्स ने
couple of days back,
हमें मार डाला.
Neetu, a few days back, I had an unknowing issue with a good friend of mine, which turned out rather sour because I had not liked the post, I had not commented on the post,
Oh
which
my God,
I mean very,
no.
I mean very well for the person, and I always do mean very well. But you always have a close circle, right? So, matlab, khalas. How dare you don't? Because I will take it in the wrong sense, and I automatically am not understanding enough. I am not sweet enough. I don't have sentiments in my heart, and that's the and so
That's true though. That's
yeah.
People are
true. I
very
know.
precious.
I could have told
Yeah.
you this. Why would you need to hear it from someone else? मैं तेरे को अभी बता देता.
I know.
तू बड़ा पत्थर दिल इंसान है.
जो
So
मैं बताऊं, मैं बेस्ट
हाँ,
एडवाइस दूं, उसको बोल के
हाँ.
कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट ना छपवा के तेरे को पोस्ट कर दे,
बट सुन मेरी बात
लगा
ना,
ले, दीवार पे लगा ले.
तो मैंने बोल दिया, एक बात तो कर ले, नेक्स्ट टाइम तू कुछ भी करेगी ना, पहले मुझे बोल दे, उसके पहले मैं तुझे पोस्ट कर लेता हूँ. I'll post it up first. I'll be the first to comment. So validation you've got. Now life can go on and we all can breathe, because you know
Yeah.
I would have some more words to say for that, but for another time.
No, don't say. So Virat has to leave. So quick ones now. Tell me
Yeah.
something funny that you found on social media. Virat, shall we start with you?
Oh my God.
You
Funny that
said
I
you
found
had
on
to leave.
I found
नहीं
Virat on
नहीं
social media. That was funny.
I found that.
नहीं. But like I'm not sure if it's funny or not, but I think just the ability to connect with people. I really like Twitter that way actually. You know, yes, it's a cesspool of hate and whatever, but it's been able to help me connect with my heroes, which are writers. So and you know, if you're genuine about your craft and your love for them, they also respond, because you know, as writers nobody gives us bhav.
Yes.
We are writers, we're pretty low on the food chain. Directors, actors, everyone else gets more bhav than us.
ए
So
ए
मिल
सीधी
you
जाता है.
guys
बोलने
have
का है कि नहीं?
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
This is for you, Virat. Here you go.
दो ना,
Hang on. This is
शायरी
for
बोलो.
Virat.
Say it.
oh God, शायरी सुननी है.
कोई
Oh God,
poem दिला दो. What?
कोई poem
Poem.
सुनाओ.
सुना दो.
कोई
इरशाद
मैं
इरशाद सुनाइए सुनाइए.
मैं एक दो शेर सुना देता हूँ. तो ठीक है, मैंने प्रिपेयर नहीं किया था, बट ठीक है, कोई वो क्या बात है. तेरा लम्स दर लम्स मुझ में रवा है, तेरा लम्स दर लम्स मुझ में रवा है, मेरा भी कोई अंश तुझ में निहा है. तेरा लम्स दर लम्स मुझ में रवा है, तेरा भी कोई अंश मुझ में निहा है. अजब सानिहा मुझ पे यकसर खुला है, अजब सानिहा मुझ पे यकसर खुला है. जो रहजन मेरा है वही पासबां है, चौकीदार ही चोर है. अजब सानिहा मुझ पे यकसर खुला है, जो रहजन मेरा है वही पासबां है. ये मेरा मुरारी वो तेरा मोहम्मद, ये मेरा मुरारी वो तेरा मोहम्मद, जमीनी खुदाओं में अटकी ये जहां है. ये मेरा मुरारी वो तेरा मोहम्मद, जमीनी खुदाओं में अटकी ये जहां है. कहाँ स्वर्ग जन्नत जहन्नुम कयामत, कहाँ स्वर्ग जन्नत जहन्नुम कयामत, सितारों के आगे तो खाली मकान है. कहाँ स्वर्ग जन्नत जहन्नुम कयामत, सितारों के आगे तो खाली मकान है. जहां के सिवा एक जहां चाहते हो, जहां के सिवा एक जहां चाहते हो, है मक्तल यही और यही गुलसिता है मक्तल यही और यही गुलसिता है। तो ये मेरा मुरारी वो तेरा मोहम्मद, जमीनी खुदाओं में अटकी ये जान। तो इसमें जहां भी है, अब आप समझ गए होंगे, समझदार लोग हैं, मुझे
क्या
एक्सप्लेन करने
बात
की
है, क्या
जरूरत नहीं।
बात है,
उफ,
वाह।
आखिर में छक्का
Virat,
मार
I
दिया।
have to show you. Okay, here you go.
थैंक
Deepak,
यू सो मच दीप।
हम्म।
okay. Zoran, what about
On that
you?
note, I'm going to plug it in again. See, this is
Sorry.
the quality that we're writing. Please watch New India.
Yes,
So,
We're
everybody,
also
yes,
taking
we'll
some
get you back up
crowdfunding as well.
once the movie is done. Yes.
ab- Saleh, the
Something
question.
But
funny.
also, if you'd like to support us, please, I would be posting the link, Saleh, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Please please help us finance this project as well. If you like our content, if you like what we're talking about, and if you
Yeah.
think that we can actually do something
Yeah.
creative and wonderful, please, please, please support us. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I echo those same thoughts. And the funny thing I've seen on internet, I think every day I kind of come across something which amuses me, makes me laugh, giggle a bit. But I have to say, I don't know if this is funny, but it's funnily true. Uh, I sometimes feel because of my involvement on social media platforms, strangers feel closer to me than my own friends sometimes do. And sometimes I feel the ones who I think know me very well don't know me so well, and people who I've never met and have become a bit of a close community, and like the close circle you have, because for a fact they'll like your stuff, they'll appreciate what you do, go out of their way to share your content, let you know what how you basically have influenced them, inspired them in some way or the other. And so at some point, I feel that's a funny revelation of my own. But I mean, from that perspective, what sort of really makes me laugh is how I guess because we live in an era where things are so unfortunate sometimes, and we live in an era where people who are in power and leadership is not sometimes appreciated, and you have people like Trevor Noah and Stephen Colbert making the light-hearted out of things. So I guess that revelation has also happened because of social media, because we have those kinds of comedians, artists, stand-up artists taking the mickey out of you,
Yes.
and making it look so intellectual, with their facts correct. It's not just funny stuff
Yes.
saying for the sake of it. Wow, I think the one thing, and I'm sure Virat will agree with me, to be funny, to be a comedian, to stand up on stage and speak for an hour, and it takes a lot. And first get your facts right, then make people laugh. And if you can't do either, then I think you're no use. But I see these kinds of things every day, and they always amuse me. So yeah, I guess that journey is always ongoing in terms of what makes me laugh and what funny stuff I come across. Really, yeah.
Me too.
I'm going to go with the most obvious one, which is I've come across memes, and this is a culture that we obviously didn't know of before social media existed. But I love the fact that there are some very creative and very vela people sitting out there who can create memes like that for everything. Like it feels like they have devoted their lives to
आओ
making
कभी
memes
हवेली
and to
पे।
making gifs. I know and Viraj and I, we always have our GIF competitions, and we're savage with each other, or we try to be.
I just
But
did.
yeah,
I just
I
did
mean,
the action of one of Virat's recently created memes.
on fleek,
On
which was Shashi Tharoor, and the line that Virat said, please say it for the audience.
Virat,
Like you
please,
have
one
to.
time, one time.
Look, I feel this should be a life mantra, which means if life makes you a Shashi, be a Kapoor, not a
No, no,
Tharoor.
you want to be a Harut. Sorry. No, you want to be
No. Be a Kapoor. No, be charming. Don't
But,
be an
but, I mean,
Yes.
overt
both are charming. I mean, Shashi Kapoor is
thesaurus.
just one of a kind, amazing,
Yes,
beautiful.
I agree. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you'd rather be a heartthrob than basically be a dictionary. So, pick your battles.
Wow, just wow.
I think we
Please
have to
add
end
more of it like
it.
this.
I
Good
rest
time
my
to end. Thank you guys for coming. I'm sure we'll see you
Thank you
again.
so much for having
And
us.
Thank
Thank
you
thank
so
you.
much,
you.
Aleha.
Really,
Okay.
that's so sweet.
Thank you. Thank you to all my viewers.
Thank you.
Stay well,
Yeah,
stay safe, and good night, everyone.
Thank you so much,
hope
Bye.
everyone.
everyone
And
enjoyed the show.
please watch New India.
Yes.
Yes, stay tuned.
Okay.
Sorry, I keep plugging
Bye.
it in.
No,
Thank you,
bye.
everyone.
See you.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.